From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We've brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Hey guys, we have breaking news information in the Sebastian Drake Rogers case that I reported on several days ago about this unscrupulous PI hired by the mom and stepfather of Sebastian Drake Rogers to run interference. We broke that he was holding critical information in the Sebastian Drake Rogers case by withholding the information related to the 3 a.m. car seen on the outside of their house where flashlights appear to be approaching that vehicle. Now all of a sudden it's back to being a trash truck, which couldn't be further from the truth. Moreover, he's saying the field of sight is much different than what it truly was that evening. Moreover, we have photos depicting what that camera footage would have looked like and the angle of that camera from my trip in June. Now, this distraction is after the revelations of 5 Department of Children and Family Services reports on either the mom or the stepfather in the home of Sebastian Drake Rogers. Now, here we go again, another distraction, all from the Proudfoot camp. This is a distraction from the step-grandmother of Sebastian Drake Rogers, is now throwing more distractions out there and going back to Seth is this pedo. But when we were talking to Yada, the cousin and family member of Katie Proudfoot, we learned she had a boyfriend and she was only in the state of Virginia around Seth for a limited amount of time when she was younger. They didn't meet until much, much later in life. Around 18 and a half years old was when they crossed paths again. They obviously fell in love, got married, and had a child. So the distraction campaign is running rampant, and the question we have to ask is why? And my opinion is they are absolutely terrified of the information law enforcement must have against them. I have no idea what is going on, but every time we start seeing these types of actions from persons of interest in a disappearance or death, we know we're sniffing up the right alley. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel for critical updated information related to the Sebastian Drake Rogers and other crime cases. God bless.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Beautiful people of YouTube. Whoop, 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 whoop. I hope everybody is recovering from Christmas and doing it well. We have still some information about the Sebastian Wayne Rogers case that has not been brought to light just yet. And Sebastian Wayne Rogers has not made his way home as of yet. Sebastian Wayne Rogers is a boy standing behind me, and he went missing on either the evening of February 25th, 2024 into the early morning hours of February 26th, 2024, and has not been seen or heard from since. Many of you guys know this case inside and out. You know all the trials and tribulations that this case has come with, the challenges and everything else related to the Sebastian Wayne Rogers case. Here recently, things seem like they're getting a little bit, I don't want to say out of control, so to speak, but, you know, getting kind of starting to get a little messy, a little sloppy, right? So we started having all these things kind of coming out, and you started seeing some damage control measures being done. So what do I mean by that? Well, we've had, you know, obviously Seth has been kind of the vocal person in the whole entire Sebastian Wayne Rogers case. And then you had the mom and the stepfather that were kind of very reserved, not really wanting to get involved, wanting law enforcement to handle it themselves, not really out there kicking up a fuss, kicking up a storm, you know, posting flyers, getting search parties together. None of that have we really seen from the mom and stepfather or anybody that they're associated with. And then all of a sudden things started getting released to the public. For example, the 5 CPS reports, the fact that Sebastian Wayne Rogers was having, you know, his mom and stepdad wanted him out of the home a lot sooner than we had realized at the beginning of this case. It dates all the way back to October 2022. And this came about when the mom and stepdad were doing some dirty stuff behind the scenes and passing out information and trying to throw shade on Seth, which had nothing to do with the disappearance of his son. And so any parent that has nothing to do with the disappearance of their child is going to be side-eyeing the people that had possession of that child when that child disappeared. So for them to be angry with Seth, instead of coming clean and just telling, you know, just putting everything on the table so Seth can be comfortable, they decide this attack method is much better. We're not attacking these people. We are following the information and where the information leads. I'm sorry, it leads to the place it leads, but at the end of the day, it circles right back to the house on Stafford where this child disappeared, ground zero. And there's nothing that I can do about that. It is what it is, as is what it is. But these people are going out of their way because the information is not voting in their direction. They're going out of their way to throw shade on an innocent father that just simply went to work, woke up, and his whole entire world was turned upside down. We've watched it happen in real time and live and in person, right? And so now all these things started coming out. Again, the CPS reports, now the Texas Roadhouse Grill, this whole weird engagement with an individual in a green hoodie that, you know, when you look at that, the woman sat there for almost 2 flipping minutes. It seems odd to the rest of us. Now, we're told there's nothing to see over here. So I'm moving past it, but still keeping record of it in my brain, right? We have no new information to move forward with it. So, you know, at this point, we need to move forward. But then all of a sudden, things started. I have a lot of frozen pizza. Ugh. No, thank you. But then we started hearing new things coming out, such as on their camp, one of their strongest supporters started cracking a little bit under pressure of maybe things that they know. We don't know. We just know what we saw. And it looked like a man that wasn't really happy about having to say what they needed to say, but it brought rise in a truck, which happens to be the stepfather's truck, possibly being in the area at the time this child disappeared. That's a concern, right? And then all of a sudden, now we've got spirit boxes and people out in the woods finally searching 10 months later. But there is a caveat. What happened during this time that was significant other than the information about the truck? That it was finally confirmed that this is a criminal investigation. And so when you go back to the very beginning, you look at the times that the Proudfoots have stepped up and started talking to the public, right? So at the very beginning, around the 3rd and 4th of March, is when the case took a turn, and they scaled back search efforts and started going into the investigative efforts, right? And then all of a sudden they're out on social media and mainstream media. Then they go dark for a really long time, and all of a sudden the lights video pops up on March 14th, and boom, we've got a rapid succession of a lot of different interviews with the mom and the stepfather, pleading their innocence. Not for Sebastian, their innocence. And then they go dark again, and now all of a sudden the family is out and engaged again. So what gives? And then we find out that this is truly publicly a criminal investigation. Then we have the Yahoo incompetent, unscrupulous PI that was hired. Why was this man hired? Was he really hired to find Sebastian? Because all he's been trying to do is run damage control, from what I can see. It doesn't look like he's put a whole lot of effort in actually locating Sebastian, as opposed to trying to clear the mom and stepdad's name, which is a little odd for me, because typically they're supposed to follow the leads where the leads go, not bode the leads where they want them to go. But before we get started, one of our members here sent me an email today, and this was something that Vinny Politan and his friends were on a panel. I think, what was it called? I'll tell you in just a second. It is called the Tangent Podcast. And I heard about this case and just assumed somebody else would pick up the case. And it hasn't been picked up yet. This is about a child, a toddler. His name's Kahleb Collins. He disappeared, but this is the kicker. Nobody knew that this child was missing until the mom, father, and other sibling was in a terrible car wreck. And a couple of them had succumbed to their injuries of the car wreck, and they realized that the toddler was not in the car wreck, and they have not seen this toddler in a really long time. It is my understanding the grandfather actually was arrested at some point after the wreck and thrown in jail, because apparently they all lived together. I'm not, I'm not too sure. It's not something I really dived into, but since one of our members here had wanted some more information, or at least at minimum advocacy for this child, I thought we would just take a few moments, read about this case, and advocate for this young boy that has been missing. So without further ado, I'm just going to go over this just real quick with you guys. I won't be able to see the screen. There's the child right there, this boy right here. His name is Kahleb Collins, and this is his sister. His sister was in the wreck. I'm just going to read this. The family of a missing Fayette toddler, Kahleb Collins, has released a new photo from July showing the child at home with his sister, saying they just want to know what happened to Kahleb. Another family member told ABC 33/40 News Thursday, "All we want is to find our grandson/nephew and bring him home safely. Someone knows something." Catherine Chaplin is Kahleb's great aunt, and on his mother's side, Chaplin called Kahleb's deceased father a sadistic, narcissist, evil person that preyed on a young woman. From court documents, it appeared the Alabama Department of Human Resources had some involvement with the family. DHR declined to comment, citing confidentiality laws. So it sounds like the Department of Children and Family Services was involved in yet this case, in another case of a missing child, and failed to act, it sounds like. Chaplin says she respects law enforcement, but they, along with Children's Services, dropped the ball on this case. They do that in many cases that we cover. Sister Riley died in the fatal car crash along with their father, Stephen Collins, who was going 90 plus miles an hour on a 2-lane road near their home. No one was restrained, according to Alea, Alea. Kahleb's mom, Wendy Pam Bailey, was severely injured in the crash and remains at UAB Hospital ICU, according to the family. Following the crash, it was revealed that nobody had seen the couple's son, Kahleb, for months. He was not in the crashed vehicle with his family, with his whereabouts unknown. A missing child emergency alert was put out on December 17th. Neighbors tell investigators were back at the family home near Winfield before Christmas. Earlier, crews were on the scene with shovels at the property searching for clues in Kahleb's disappearance. Other than news release of December 16, 2024, Fayette County Sheriff Brian Yerby has not commented or returned calls about the case, so they've shut the case down. That means it's a criminal investigation. There have been no news conference with updates. Neighbors tell us they rarely saw Kahleb, and his father said he had health issues. A Facebook post by Stephen Collins earlier reported his son had health problems and would need surgery. Later, neighbors were told Kahleb had gone to live with family members. ABC has been unable to verify Kahleb had a health condition. According to Missing Child Alert, the toddler was last seen September 4th in the Winfield area. Kahleb's grandfather, who lived with the couple, was charged with failing to report a missing child, and he is in the county jail on a $100,000 bond. Court documents reveal law enforcement believes Kahleb was seriously hurt and moved from the family home. Steve Collins had worked for a roofing company in Walker County, which was sold a year ago. The new owner moved the company to a new locations and said Collins did not work for them. Kahleb's mother worked for Walker County. Wendy Pam Bailey's family lives out of state. So there's your update. And then I just wanted you guys to hear a little bit of Vinnie Politan. You guys can go get the rest of that on his show later today if you guys would like to watch any more information.
The father is taken to the hospital, dies at the hospital, and the mother's in critical condition.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. I mean, first of all, that in and of itself is a crime, to have a child of that tender years sitting in the back seat without any type of harness system.
Well, and I just wanted you guys to hear that. If you want to get that, you guys can go to Vinnie Politan to get that. I just wanted you to see a little bit about this young boy that has disappeared. And quite frankly, from everything I heard, this is what I truly believe. They're like complaining about the child being unrestrained. I think that was intentional, because it sounds like the father took the car and drove it into a tree at 90 miles an hour. It seems to me, based on earlier reports, and this is just going off of memory because I remember reading this case when it happened, it sounds like the father was intentionally trying to take the rest of the family out, personally speaking. I guess only time will tell whether that is true or not. But that's from my understanding as to what could have potentially happened to this young boy. All right, guys, before we get started any further, I just lost my my volume. So before I turn the phone lines on, I'm going to, I got to reset, I got to take it down and then put it back up. So you're going to have to bear with me. So I'll let you guys know when the phone lines are on to call in. But we're going to go ahead and get started with the most recent update from At Night Intelligence Agency. I just want to say hi, everybody. We have 617 people in chat. If you guys don't mind, please kindly go out and give this live a thumbs up. If you're on a computer, it should be very easy. It's just, it should be just right down here. If you're on your phone, there should be 3 dots at the top or 3 dots at the bottom, depending on if you're on an iPhone or a Samsung, Windows phone, Android phone rather. Those will be in different positions, but just go hit the 3 dots and hit the thumbs up. You're more than welcome to put your number, where you're from, and what the temperature, what the weather is like in your area. That would be great. Thank you guys so very much. I do appreciate it. The first thing is obviously the update that came out from At Night. This says, public update on the search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, public service announcement, December 27th, 2024. The public is requested to refrain from posting photographs online of individuals they believe may resemble Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. While we commend your vigilance, sharing such images publicly can inadvertently cause harm to innocent children and infringe upon their privacy. If you have any information regarding Sebastian's whereabouts, please take the following steps. Discreetly photograph, capture a discrete photograph of the individual and share it directly with law enforcement authorities or our tip line. If you're almost certain it's Sebastian, dial 911. Document the sighting. Provide a detailed account of the time and location of the sighting. Surveillance camera observations. Identify and note the position of any nearby surveillance cameras. Vehicle identification. Gather information about any vehicles involved, including the make, model, and license plate number. Your contribution are invaluable, but discretion is paramount. Posting online may hinder investigations and compromise the safety of others. Together, we can protect our communities and ensure Sebastian's safe return. Your assistant remains critical in uncovering the truth and bringing Sebastian home. If you have credible information related to Sebastian's disappearance or the events surrounding it, please contact Sebastian at manhunts.1 or 833-TELL-DOG. Alternatively, you can reach out to Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI, the TBI tip line, the FBI tip line. And if it's an emergency or you see him, without a doubt, 911 would be your best option. Sebastian remains the focus of relentless national search effort. Despite intimidation attempts and obstruction, Dog, the bounty hunter, at night, and their partners remain steadfast in their commitment to finding answers, uncovering the truth, and bringing Sebastian home safely. Thank you for your continued vigilance and support. Together, we will achieve justice for Sebastian. I do appreciate that post because honestly, we do need to be cognizant that a lot of these sightings will not be Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and we do have to believe that some of these photos, we have to understand they are of children. Oh, hey, Aletha, thank you so much, reminding us Sebastian's Army. Thank you. And I see I have another one that I must have missed. Oh, it's me, Jen. Thank you, my love. I appreciate that. Oh, you guys rock. I appreciate that. God bless you guys. Please, no snow in Kentucky until after the 1st. Wishful thinking. Oh, good gracious. So now we've kind of circled around to where our topic of conversation is. And this is where we know we have an unscrupulous PI working for the mom and the stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And why do I say unscrupulous? It's because an unscrupulous PI is one who acts unethically, violates laws, or abuses their position. Examples are failing to adhere to state laws regarding licensure and reporting, intentionally engaging in fraudulent, deceitful, or harmful behavior, refusing to disclose findings, or altering evidence. If you're concerned about a PI acting unethically, consider filing a complaint with the Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance for pursuing legal remedies. It is crucial to hire licensed and reputable investigators who operate transparently within the law. Now, we're going to be going over some of the Tennessee law related to some licensure and other information that I think everybody should be well aware of. Now, we're going to be discussing the laws specifically in Tennessee, and I'm just going to be reading verbatim the statutes themselves. Okay, it's not going to be rocket science. We're not practicing law here. We're just making sure that everybody is aware of the statutes and the way the statutes are. 5D, it's nice to see you. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing. I have watched quite a bit. 5D, War Dam Eagle, Black Hawk, you guys have been doing great at what you guys been doing. I heard on another channel that he was what? Hold on, Andrea. Let me go up here. Is it true Seth is fleeing? Oh, good gracious, no. Oh, good gracious, no. It's so funny. It's so funny how many people, when you hear this stuff, it's from a hate channel, guys. Quit listening to them. When I tell you that they've got nothing right, they've got nothing right. They've never gotten anything right. I mean, their assumptions even, are so far off base, it's not even funny. They're delusional. I don't know why people listen to them, because every time you guys come over here, it's just not true. Exactly. That's your number one problem right there, Andrea, because he is the worst. People think that dude is evil. Okay. He is slap evil. I don't know how to express it other than that. That man is evil. He is my ex. I know him well. He's an evil individual. He didn't always used to be this way, but once he got off parole, his whole demeanor of who he is has changed, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, no, that's not true. That man has not moved, left, or anything else. Come here. All right. We've been blessed with the star of the show. Say hi, Delilah. Say no. I just want to lay on my mommy. I just want to lay on my mommy while we have a live show. That's all. So let's get started on the law. I'm just going to go in order because this is the way the order went in when I was reading it and pulling it. So, oops. So there we go. Hopefully everybody can see it. I'll blow it up just a little bit. There we go. Now this is a very interesting one. Let me make sure these are in order. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, they're all in order. So I thought this was an interesting one. Do I have it up on the screen? Can you guys see it? Oh, good. You guys can. Let's read this together. Now, this is service in areas of competence. This is going to be a very important and critical section of the Tennessee Code. If you guys want to know what Tennessee Code, this is the Tennessee, Rules and Regulations 1175-04-.03. And what it says is the licensee shall perform only in areas of his or her competence. The following acts or commissions, among others, may be deemed to be incompetence and be cause for denial, suspension, or revocation of private investigator's license. If you guys have not understood why I pulled this one up first, is because we have a private investigator that is preparing reports to reenact scenes, which I don't believe he has the requisite or the history or the competence to complete those types of reports and put them out for the public. And we're going to get to the whole sharing with the public thing here in just a little bit, so please stay tuned for that. So I thought this was very important. Malpractice includes, but is not limited to, recklessness or excessive errors or omissions in the licensee professional practice. Disability includes, but not limited to, mental or physical disabilities or addictions to alcohol or drugs as to endanger health, safety, and interest of the public by impairing skill and care in providing professional services. Now, I don't know what type of disabilities he has, but I think on the face we could say that there might be something there. And that's just my opinion. 2, the licensee may accept an assignment requiring education or experience outside of his or her field of competence, but only to the extent that his or her services are restricted to those phases of assignment in which she is qualified. I don't think he's qualified for reenacting a camera. I mean, we've already Mob Crew went in there and showed the incompetence of those reports. So I think, in all fairness, by him preparing those in and of himself is a direct conflict with the law. In providing services, the licensee shall take into account all applicable laws and regulations. The licensee shall not knowingly provide services resulting in violations of such laws and regulations. So there's the first one. Here is the 04-.05, okay? And this is related to conflicts of interest. Now, there are some things in here. This is not too, I'm not going to have a lot of commentary on this area just yet. We may circle back to it at another show. But I did want to read it to everybody so everybody has a good understanding of conflict of interest. The licensee shall not accept compensation, financial or otherwise, from more than one party for services on or relating to the same investigation, set of circumstances, court case, or issues unless all interested parties consent in writing after full disclosure by the licensee. The licensee shall avoid all known conflicts of interest with his/her employer or client, and shall promptly inform his/her employer or client of any business association, interest, or circumstances which could influence his or her judgment or the quality of his or her service. When such a conflict is unavoidable, the licensee shall forthwith disclose the circumstance to his or her employer. Employer is client. So in this case, it would be the mom and the stepfather of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, allegedly. And we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. The licensee shall take responsible steps to ascertain the existence of potential conflicts of interest among his or her employer and or client. A conflict exists when a private investigator, because of some personal interest, finds it difficult to devote himself with loyalty and singleness of purpose to the best interest of his or her client or employer. A private investigating company shall be responsible for avoiding conflicts of interest between the company and the client of any private investigators affiliated with the company. The client of one private investigator affiliated with the company and the client of any other private investigator affiliated with the company. 5, no licensee or employer of licensee shall contact or cause to be contacted any individual under investigation for the purpose of revealing confidential information to that person. At any such contact with the subject being investigated, whether intentional or unintentional, shall be made part of the investigative file of such case. Interesting. A lot of people miss that. No licensee or employee of licensee shall contact or cause to be contacted any individual under investigation for the purpose of revealing confidential information to that individual. Pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. I thought this stuff was ultra important for everybody to understand the laws here. Again, I'm just reading them verbatim. I'm putting them up on the screen for all of you guys to read, and we're going to continue to read these things and discuss them. And the last one's going to be a little bit of a bombshell, because you're going to see in a nice, neat bow all the violations. Misconduct. 1175-04-.06, misconduct. The licensee shall not knowingly associate with or permit the use of his/her name or firm in a business venture by any person or firm which he or she knows or has reason to believe is engaging in business or professional practice of a fraudulent or dishonest nature. The licensee shall not furnish any services in such a manner as to enable an unlicensed person to evade the licensure requirement of Tennessee Code. And this is something that I do believe has happened. The licensee and his/her employee shall not represent, identify, or suggest to anyone that they are associated with any law enforcement agency. For example, you can't call somebody and tell them that you are the lead investigator on the Sebastian Rogers case. That implies you are law enforcement. And we have a recent post, several recent posts on X, stating, one, that he is just like law enforcement except in the private practice, implying that he has every single ability that law enforcement does, which is untrue. And the other one, where he states that he is a private practice investigator. I can't remember the terminology he used, but he did not say private investigator. He said, I can't remember the word he used. I'm gonna have to go back and check it, but it was implying he was an investigator, not a private investigator. Those are things that I see that could cause a lot of problems. And we've got those screen captures, but those are the types of things that I think would be contradictory to Tennessee law. The licensee shall not bill a client for services or expenses which have not been provided or incurred. A complete and comprehensive itemized statement of services and expenses must be provided to the client upon request. So if you've ever hired him, I would be requesting those itemized bills if he charged you, because we know his stick is going into these missing person groups, hunting for the next person missing a child, telling them he's going to be pro bono, and then, oh, if you want me to go out there, you've got to pony up $3,000, but never once providing them any receipts for service. Pretty interesting. That's a violation. Misrepresentation of qualifications and identity. The licensee shall not falsify or permit misrepresentation of his or her associate academic or professional qualification. He or she shall not misrepresent or exaggerate his or her degree of responsibility in or for the subject matter of prior assignment. Brochures or other presentation incident to the solicitation of employment shall not misrepresent pertinent facts concerning employers, employees, associates, joint ventures, or his or her past accomplishments with the intent and the purpose of enhancing his or her own qualifications, like I found 15 people in 1 year. B, produce and or use of any printed matter or promotional material, including but not limited to radio, television, internet, or printed advertisement, letterhead, business cards, or flyer, which do not bear the true names under which the licensee is licensed by the commissioner as a private investigator. Do we see his full name listed on his X profile? Because that is the internet. That is where he's conducting business. And according to the state of Tennessee, he must have his true name under which his licensee is licensed by the commissioner as a private investigator or an investigations company shall constitute misrepresentation. So by him failing to do that on all of his social media platforms, he already is misrepresenting himself, a violation of his license. The true name of the licensee private investigator or investigation company shall accompany any DBAs, AKAs, and alias name under which the licensee operates. Indicating a private investigator is affiliated or operating a company that is not licensed by the commissioner, or any printed material or promotional material, including but not limited to radio, television, internet, or print advertisement, like SF Investigates, shall constitute misrepresentation. A licensee may be deemed by the commissioner to be guilty of misconduct in his or her professional practice if A, he or she is convicted in a court of competent jurisdiction of a felony or misdemeanor, which the commissioner finds reflective unfavorably on the licensee fitness for licensure, or B, his or her license or certificate of registration to practice private investigation in another jurisdiction is revoked, suspended, or voluntarily surrendered as a result of disciplinary proceedings. 7, a private investigations company shall be responsible charge of any private investigator's affiliate, such as company. In addition, a private investigations company shall be subject to discipline for any violations of the Tennessee Private Investigators License and Regulatory Act and any rule promulgated thereunder committed by its affiliated private investigators if the company knows or should have known about the violation and failed to take timely preventative and or remedial measures. The original rule, you don't need to read that. Now we're going over to 0.07, and this is confidential client information. Now, there's a whole section on this stuff. Obviously, I pulled out just what we needed to discuss tonight. A licensee shall not disclose any confidential, hold on, let me blow this up a little. Sorry about that, guys. A licensee shall not disclose any confidential client information without the specific consent of the client. Whoa! Wow. Let's read that again. A licensee shall not disclose any confidential client information without the consent of the client, such as them even being a client. That's supposed to be confidential without written authorization. So when he came out and said he was the the PI for the mom and stepdad, and they said, no, we didn't hire him. Remember that whole he didn't have the permission to provide that information to the public, but he did it anyways. Let's keep reading. This rule shall not be construed to A, affect in any way the licensee obligation to comply with a valid, issued, and enforceable subpoena or summons. So they have to, show up, and they can't prevent them. Prohibit review of licensee professional practice by the commissioner, or prohibit a licensee from utilizing any such relevant information in the defense or claim asserted against the licensee. So the only thing is they're not allowed to release confidential information. Now, here's the last one, and then we're going to go over to a different statute, and this is 0.08. And this is written reports. Why am I bringing up written reports? Because we just had a written report that was terribly done. One that I do not believe that this man was competent enough to prepare or even disseminate out into the world. And was he even authorized to disseminate that information out to the world? Because again, he doesn't own the work he does. When you are hired by a client to uncover information as a private investigator, the client owns your findings, not the private investigator. What does that mean? That means the private investigator is not at liberty to share or disclose the findings of their investigation without proper written authorization from the clients. That is huge. And we watch this man do it all the time when he's handling Tennessee cases. Now, I'm only dealing with Tennessee law. We're not dealing with California, Arkansas, or Florida because we don't have a case there. We have a case in Tennessee, so I'm applying the proper law to the case he's handling. By the way, guys, don't forget to tell our mods, thank you so much for trying to keep this chat friendly. And they work around the clock, and they work very hard to do that. So don't forget to tell our moderators, thank you so very much. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're here. We've got almost 900 people in chat right now. I'd really like, this is a lot of research, a lot of explanation. And so I thought this was important to everybody to learn. Upon the request of a client in good standing, a licensee must submit a written report to that client or his or her designee. A written report shall include all relevant information obtained during the investigation. I've never heard him do that with any of the cases, but I digress. This is really the statute I want you guys to know. And that's Tennessee Code Section 62-26-221. And this is violations. Private investigators, violation. Let's read what's on this one. No individual licensed as an investigations company, or private investigator in this state shall, 1, in order to obtain employment, knowingly make a material misrepresentation as to the person's ability to perform the investigation required by the potential client. Make unsubstantiated monetary changes to a client for service not rendered or transportation not utilized. So you know how he's pro bono, but then he needs the big money up front, the several $1,000s up front. That's a violation of his license in Tennessee. Knowingly making a false report to a client in relation to the investigation performed for the client. A violation. What did we just have him do? What did he just post on his X account? You guys still think this is not an unscrupulous, unprofessional, and unethical PI? Still? Here's the print, black and white. Black and white. 4, continue an investigation for a client when it becomes obvious to the investigator that a successful completion of an investigation is unlikely without first so advising the client and obtaining the client's approval for continuation of the investigation. We don't know whether that's true or not. We would not be privy to that information. We can only see the stuff that's in the public. And number 5, reveal information obtained for a client during an investigation to an individual, to another. He revealed it to thousands of individuals without the proper document or the permission of the client, period. These are all violations of his license in Tennessee. And I can tell you 4 out of the 5 have been violated. You guys can look this up yourself. These are the receipts I'm providing to you related to this unscrupulous PI that violates the law. And this is just the law in the Sebastian Rogers case. We're not even talking about the other cases. Just lost my 5-month-old grandson on Mother's Day. Oh, I'm sorry, Jackie. That's so sad. That's so sad. God bless you and your family. I can't even imagine. So there you have it, folks. That is my presentation to you about we're going to dive in. Oh, thank you, Melanie. God bless you. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper, into this, because we're going to start looking at case law and, the stuff that really meets the rubber to the pavement, And so I'm so sick of dancing around and people saying, oh, he's not doing anything wrong. He's not doing anything wrong. A private investigator is private. Okay? You do not need a license to be a public investigator. You only need a license to be a private investigator. He's not private. He is violating his own license in Tennessee. When he released those reports without the permission of his clients, he violated his license. When he disclosed that Chris and Katie were his clients, he violated his license. You get it? Check it out yourself. Read the law yourself. There is the receipts for my statements and my statements for the last blessed, I don't know how many bloody years. He pulled this nonsense in the Layla Santinello case. He has violated his, I've never seen this man not violate his license in a state. Still waiting. So now comes the time where we're going to be opening up the phone lines. I'm interested in now, we're not going to be, I want to keep this professional. If I didn't, I would be slamming this Yahoo like there was no tomorrow. Okay. I only wanted to do this presentation because I felt like it was, his presence has been disingenuous. It has been contradictory. It has been to shield certain subjects. And I feel like his behavior is dangerous. Okay. So that is why I am bringing all of this legal stuff, the real stuff to you guys, not my opinions, not my, I think this, I think that. I wanted to bring you the law of Tennessee so you guys could read it for yourself in black and white, do your own research, legitimate research, right? Because you have facts. Nothing can be more factual than the freaking state statutes, right? So this is super important to me. And I know it's super important to this case because we need to identify these threats. And I truly believe he's a threat to this case. But I don't want it to be a bash session because it does no good to make it a bash session. I would like you guys to be kind. Okay. You guys can debate the issues, but not the people. Let me debate the people. If I don't like them, it's my channel. I will chew them up one side and down the other, but that's for me to do. I'd like you guys, if possible, to please follow the rules. I know we're all, thank you. That's so sweet. So many people have no idea who SF really is. Thank you for always taking one for the team of Sebastian. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Jackie is calling. Okay, hold on. The phones aren't on yet. You're going to have to give me a second. Don't call in just yet because I don't want to dox anybody. So don't call in just yet. I've got to set it back up so we have sound. We don't have sound at the moment because of something I accidentally did. And I apologize about that. So don't call in just yet. Let me get this on the screen. There we go. Now we're off. Let me turn the phones on. Okay, guys, we're official. We've got the phone lines open. Whoever calls in first, please give me an opportunity to make sure that the phones, everybody can hear. So just give me a few moments. And the number for those out there is 724-252-8070. Let me see if I can change the back of my virtual thing so you guys can see my number behind. Okay, give me just a second. Uh-oh. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Betty. This is Judy from Nashville, Tennessee. How are you?
Oh, it's nice to hear from you, Judy. I'm recovering from Christmas like everybody else.
Oh, my goodness. I know. I still can't take my tree down yet. I've still got kids coming.
Yep.
But anyways, I just wanted to give you, I know you know my opinion probably, if you remember. And my opinion's always been, and I hate to say this, is the trafficking. I can't express enough on how Tennessee is getting swamped with all these criminals coming in. And I guess that comes with growth, but they're going after our children, and that really ticks me off. But I've got this sneaking feeling that maybe Katie's lawyered up because of she's turning against Chris, I hope.
Oh, great. Great
she's
analysis,
getting stronger.
perspective, though, but I didn't think about it like that, but maybe.
Well, I mean, if she gets a plea deal, it would be a whole lot better for her.
Yeah.
And, you know, the whole country kind of has their opinion about Chris, which he did that all on his own.
Yes, he did.
I mean, it's all his fault. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I think she's kept her mouth quiet, but I think she's kind of wising up. Any mother would, you know, has to have a heart for their child. They just cannot be so cold-hearted. I mean, I like to believe that.
We
anyway.
would love to believe that, but we've, you know, over the years have seen such horrible inhumanity, you know, in some of these parents and what they're capable of. It's you know, it's awful.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do know they knew that they would probably have to take care of him, maybe his whole life. I don't know. He seemed very functional. And I went to the school that he was supposed to graduate from. There was not one sign up, not one mention of this child, nothing. And I was so torn up about that. And I didn't see any signs up for Sebastian. And that just blew my mind.
Well, I will tell you, we did put signs up. We put a lot of signs up. And even after that, Sonia went out there and put up green ribbons, you know, on the poles.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's been taken down. There for a while, we heard that it was the mom and the stepdad's camp early on in the case that was caught ripping the signs down. I never found validation of those statements, just to be honest with everybody. I've never validated those statements, but I know I put mine up, and within days, all of mine were taken down.
And that is so heartbreaking in itself. That how could you do that? I mean, I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get it out there that we love Sebastian. And I fell in love with you the second I started listening to you.
Oh, thank you.
And like I said, my grandkids will see you on TV and they'll go, oh, there you are. I mean, you're so me on TV. And I'm like, no, that's not me. That's Bullhorn Daddy.
Aww.
And then my husband will hear. Yeah. And then my husband will hear me in the bedroom when you come on, and he'll go, are you on the phone again? Like, no, that's Bullhorn Daddy.
That's Betty.
Yeah, and I got one of your cups.
Aww.
And your cup is in my kitchen with the thumbs up beside it.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm just
so
proud
much.
that I got to meet you. And I'm more. I mean, I'm just so excited that you stepped in, because I believe this is going to bring a whole lot more children home.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we're going to have a Sebastian law that's going to come about after all this is said and done. And I hope Sebastian's there to get his reward one way or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, the child's got so many friends. He wouldn't be able to believe it all the way across the world. It's amazing. And I have to give you kudos for that.
Yeah,
I really have to give you kudos for that.
I got to tell you, the Sebastian's Army really does touch Seth. I don't think people realize how important it is. This Sebastian's Army is for Seth. Without all of you guys, the audience, without those words of encouragement for him, I don't know. Honestly, I know people think that this is a joke. Some of these people do, but I truly don't know where Seth would be without all of us right now.
Oh, I know. I mean, I think Tony has been a godsend.
Yeah.
And I think you've been a godsend to him. Seth, my heart breaks.
There's so many other people that aren't public on these platforms that do so much for him. I don't want to name them because I don't want to put a magnifying glass on them. But there's a lot of people that aren't on these platforms that call him every day, pray for him. Make sure he's doing really, really well. And I don't want to forget those people too, because they're little angels for Seth.
Well, I mean, Sebastian was his baby, his only child. And the love he has for this child is just amazing. When they sit there and tell me, well, he bought the shoes for Sebastian. He bought this for Sebastian. He bought that. And, he had a tough time to begin with trying to make ends meet himself.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe these other people have as much money as people claim. You don't get that kind of money by just selling homes or, digging in the dirt.
Yeah.
To me, there's something else much bigger and much larger, and it's going to happen. God takes care of his creatures. He takes care of his babies.
Yeah. Well, we've been waiting a long time for Summer Wells, and I really just don't think we have an appetite to wait this many years for another missing child in Tennessee.
You're right.
Yeah. So
I just think we have way too many missing. I remember when you read the stats, it's 65 children were missing.
I think it was 40 or 44, and we had, like, here in Florida, which is a larger population, had 4.
Right.
I mean, it was pretty extensive. I mean, the difference in size of state and how many children.
Crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But anyway, I pray that we get him home really quick for the whole world. I mean, we've all adopted him. I mean, we've adopted both of them.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go.
Thank you so much for your love, support, and calling in. Please call back.
Okay. All right, sweetheart. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, yeah, I get a little, I know people don't realize it, but I do get a little taken back, when I think of Seth and what he's going through. It's awful. This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Betty. This is Shirley Age in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, Shirley, how are you doing?
I am doing okay. You know what? I am about had this circus. This whole case has turned into a circus, and it starts with the stinky foots.
Yeah.
And the dirty socks.
Yep.
And it has been one circus after another, after another, after another. And right now, I'm at the point where if I could reach through my computer and just...
I think we've all been there. I'm laughing because I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I think we've all been there, where we just want to just pop their heads like pimples.
Oh. There was a creator on earlier, and if I could have got his own fingers around his throat or gave him something to knock the common sense into him, he wouldn't have been saying what he said.
Right.
I mean, we've all been watching this case since the beginning. Seth has not went anywhere.
Yeah.
He's not. Well, I don't know about.
We haven't had a fight with Seth to do what's right by his son. Okay, that's period.
Right.
We've never had to argue.
Seth he's doing everything he can to find his son, and then we got these. I'm just gonna say this clown of a PI that's trying to be an attorney that's making it false accusations and doing false videos of
it's horrible work. He's incompetent for that type of work. He's trying to be somebody he's not, and he has no experience. He has no education. And when it comes to enactment, angles of cameras, or any of that, he is not. He has no competence in that area. Yet he's producing these reports to fool the public, and that's my problem.
And that's where that's my problem. How are you going to stand down there on the ladders and not even be up there where the camera is, and not even at the right address? He wasn't even at the right home when he did his pictures. And then you get it. You're not showing. You're only showing what you think is going to fit this feet, stinky feet,
Well,
whatever
not
you
even
want to call
that,
them.
but it was so clearly obvious that the lights weren't coming from their side of the road. You could clearly see that it was the house that's the next door neighbors, the way their house is built and where their garage is. Their garage faces toward Kellen Lane. And so the lights that you see are coming from inside of that garage because they leave their lights on. That other house didn't have their garage door or their exterior lights on. I was there. They didn't keep, that wasn't what they typically do. They don't keep those lights on there. So their house would have been not taken into consideration because they didn't have their lights on that night.
And I have never seen a trash truck come down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now I know they may go to work, get their route, get signed to their truck, but they're not hitting residential areas at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. No. We all know, not only that, but he stated he knew who the people were in the car at 3 a.m. and then tried to say the lights video in the car didn't happen until 5:10, but you've been saying for a solid week, you know who's in the car at 3 a.m.
Well, then he needs to spill his guts and tell us who was in that car, because he said it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a girl, the daughter of the people that lived there's boyfriend. Excuse me, but they had already said that they didn't have no kids. So how can it be
that
the
is
boyfriend
an older
of
community?
the daughter?
There's a few families there that have children, but the majority of them are elderly people. Even the person that the P-Foots purchased the home from was an elderly couple. So it's an older community. Not everybody in there has children, and the ones that do have children typically have older children. They're older families, you know. They got the children
and moved out on their own. And then, you know, I hope we don't get upset Mr. Stinkyfoot, because in order for that truck to ping between the 25th and the 26th, it had to happen between midnight on the 25th to midnight on the 26th of 1201.
I agree.
Because if he got there at 1:30 in the afternoon, all them cars, the police, the detectives, the searchers, all their cars would have pinged.
The key in this whole thing is that only 2 were in the area at the time. If you heard ET, 2 pings, 2, only 2, not 15, not that they had 20 and they had to eliminate all the police. They said there was only 2.
2. And one of them, Chris, Numbnuts, said it was, well, they didn't even know it was my truck. Yes, they did. You went and traded trucks, because I was looking at the truck that you had at the campground, and I was looking at the truck that you're driving now. It's not the same truck. He had a black truck, and now he's got a blue truck.
You can't just change vehicles. You got to register them. There's a whole, I mean, that's, I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree 100% with that without looking a little further, because that's what they said about the campers. And I'm like, wait a minute, if they changed campers or changed ownership, you're talking about registration. You're talking about stuff that goes to the state, the county, tags. I mean, you're talking about government documentation. I don't know how many people are going to be wanting to do government documentation in the middle of, you know, a missing child. But hey, they were out searching for a motorcycle. So who knows, right?
Who knows? You got a missing child and you're going to leave the state, but you got time to go to the beach. You got time to go buy a motorcycle. You got time to
motorcycle rally,
be on YouTube.
Motorcycle rally in Myrtle Beach. Let's not forget that they actually went to a flippin' motorcycle rally in the middle of the search for their missing child.
Who does that? I have a child that's the same age as Sebastian. My child come up missing, I'm not leaving my home. I'm going to stay in the area in case my child comes back, and I don't care who I'm with. Oh, you want to leave? We'll kick rocks, partner, because this mama ain't going nowhere until her baby comes home.
Yeah, and look at Seth. Seth leaves his phone on throughout all of his interviews. His cell phone that his son has, he will not turn the ringer off to do interviews, nothing. Just in case that 1% chance, that 0.5% chance that his son might call his phone. He doesn't even turn his cell phone off.
No. And, that's why I said, and I'm thinking because, not to downgrade Sebastian, but he is that off as Katie and Numbnuts says. Maybe he doesn't realize that he has been reported missing and doesn't know. Maybe he thinks his dad knows where he's at, and that's the reason why he hasn't reached out to his dad.
I don't know, but every time you say numbnuts, you distract me. I start laughing.
I'm sorry, but I had another choice words, but I had to clean that one up.
I get it. I really do.
But it was just, I'm thinking maybe because of the way they, Seth said he's very intelligent, but they downgraded him and said he wasn't. He didn't have a mind of a 15-year-old. But autistic children are very smart.
Think about let's look back. Actually, just pause there for a second. Let's look back on this whole case to begin with. Look at all the stuff we were told. We've been told so much over the last several months about, first it was he's, young and mind, then it came, he likes using the bathroom on himself. And when you talk to the mom and stepfather about who Sebastian is, you're met with, he invades personal space. It's just never anything nice. But then you listen to the way his father describes him, the way his teachers describe him. And you hear all of these other differences, of people that have been around him for a really long time, contradicting what the mom and the stepfather says. It's very difficult to understand why they would tell people this and then find out, like even at the very beginning about, remember they were looking in bodies of water in case he ran, like the mom and stepfather knew he knew how to swim and knew he would never get in a freaking dirty ass lake, but didn't tell all.
And they knew he ain't left that house with no shoes on.
Right.
Because there's only one or two ways that he could have left that house. Either he didn't make it home, or they carried him out through that garage. Because from what I was understanding, he doesn't like getting dirty. He doesn't like bugs. There's no way he's going to walk out of the house with no shoes on.
He's allergic to grass. He's allergic to grass. That's what we learned from his own mom.
And their story does not add up. Mm-hmm. I would bet a lottery ticket that we have in Denver right now for $1 billion that Numbnuts and Dingledorf's mom has something to do with this baby missing.
Numbnuts and Dingleball?
Yes, that's it. Because that's their new names for me, because none of their stories are making sense.
Not Dingleballs, Dingleberries. Numbnuts and Dingleberry.
I see you cracking up on the screen.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your call. I gotta turn the phones on for somebody else. So we appreciate it. You gave us a lot of laughs and chat.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Call back again. Bye-bye.
I will. Bye.
Oh, good gracious. Some of you guys crack me up so much. Like my cheeks are hurting. Like they literally hurt. I don't think I smiled this much in a while. They definitely. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is April from Illinois.
Hey, April. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a question. I had emailed you. I had found an article about the Sebastian Rogers case on Unzipped, and I was just wondering if you had seen that.
What was it about?
It's on Sebastian Rogers.
What channel? I missed some of the stuff.
It was online on. It's called Unzipped.
Oh, I don't
News
know. I probably haven't watched it. If you didn't give me like a specific area, if it's like 2 or 3 hours long, if I didn't get
No, it's not a video. It's a news article.
Oh, okay. What did it say?
It was just talking about him, and it was talking. It's like a lot of misinformation, and I just don't know how they came up with it. It was saying that KP was a nurse at a local hospital. And they had two other.
It might just be somebody that's doing these, anything because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes to counter algorithms and a whole bunch of stuff. It may be something like.
And then they were saying that they had two other children, and
wow,
it was just full of it was like a daughter and another son.
Huh.
Yeah, like
no,
a 10-year-old.
I didn't see it. I'm so sorry. I did not get that. I did not see that. But definitely, or unless I did it, because I remember an article coming back from a lawyer's office like many months ago that was really off the rails, wrong and inaccurate. But that's the only other one I remember.
And then it says that him and Katie met when they were both in college and fell in love. And it's just like a bunch of information.
Wow.
Misinformation. I will send it to you again.
Yeah, send it to me again. Let me see if I can look at it because people in the chat are probably going to be curious, and we'll go over it another time.
Would you like me to what's it called? Subject it something?
Yeah, just just say misinformation article, something like that.
Okay, I can do that.
I'll remember it. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. I love watching you, Betty.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that's interesting. I'd like to see that little tidbit of juicy misinformation. It's always, the fake news. It's crazy out there. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. I'm Carly from down in South Alabama. How are you?
Oh, I am doing so well, Carly. What's going on? What's shaking, bacon? What do you think about all this new information?
Well, I think a lot about it, but I want to ask something first, and let me get through with this one because I have been dying to know, and I can't get a straight answer of anybody. I'm just interested, if you can answer, I'm just interested to know if Lesniak has informed all the plaintiffs about the anti-SLAPP and that Bruce Castor never knew he was added to the injunction.
I would never comment on an active and ongoing investigation or court case, especially that I'm involved in. So I don't think you're going to get answers from anybody related to that.
Well, good luck with you then. Thank you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So there's that. So, I mean, I wish her the best of luck, but I don't see any plaintiff answering that question, quite frankly. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Julia. I'm calling from Missouri.
Hello, Julia. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, doll. I'm doing all right. Anyhow, this is the first time I've called in with you.
Oh, great.
Who else is waiting for Katie to come out and really speak again? Maybe she'll have an English accent this time.
No, I think she's not coming out from under her rock ever again.
Yeah, I think it's really ridiculous because you can tell the kind of guy this dude is, right? Chris, he was cheating on her and all this other crap, and he's a narcissist, really. If you know a narcissist, you know a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure she did this. Well, in my opinion, she's the one that did this, and he just helped her clean up the mess, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that Seth knows something. That's probably why somebody told. I mean, there's some kind of clue that's been found, and that puts them, because they found a bone or something. I'm thinking, they know a whereabouts of where he, Chris went with them, and they got him out there searching, looking like a dumbass, and knowing that they already found whatever is there to see his reaction. I think.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would have to think that if they had some major piece of evidence, that it would be pretty extensive because once they find a bone, we're talking about opening up a crime scene. I mean, you can't.
They have to have something on these people. How could they not?
I do think they do have a lot of circumstantial evidence.
It's pinged somewhere else, and they want to put him out there where it is.
Yeah.
They're trying to get him to find this body. You know, they know about where he was because he's the one that, you know, obviously if it's just pinging there.
Yeah,
he can, help her do it.
I definitely
did it or helped her.
Yeah, I definitely agree that law enforcement has to have a lot because, you know, let's face it, we don't have the abilities of.
They got a lot more than they're telling us right now. I guarantee you, they're keeping it close to their chest, trying to get them on more stuff so they have a case. Just
right.
Like poor Sumner.
Yeah, and not only that, but if we have to, deduct that they would definitely have more information than we, the public, could get our hands on. Because they have abilities that we don't have. And we've gotten a lot of circumstantial stuff out there in the ether right now from the source.
Well, I mean, you're cool with Seth, right? Wouldn't you know, like, why he took off? Is it because he knows something's about to go down?
I don't know if anything's about to go down, but I definitely feel from some of the last interviews Seth has, he feels at least a renewed confidence that something's going on. And that really makes me feel comfortable, like there must be something going on behind the scenes. We just don't know what.
Well, I'm telling you, I mean, I talked to Spirit. I know that's kind of crazy, and some people don't really believe that stuff. But like I've said it from the beginning, what keeps, the stuff that is coming out, like I didn't think he was able to come there, and like there was something going on where she's about to lose him. And, and I
believe something like that's going on because we know that we saw this, that was public that, there were marital problems. That's what surfaced early on in this case. There was marital problems and Seth needed to go live with his father. That's how it was couched to us. And then, that's morphed itself to really, they've been trying to rehome this child since 2022. And now there's like 5 CPS reports in a matter of 17 months, which gives us, pause as to what was really going on, because it seems like we were duped early on about what the circumstances were about him. And then it went from him just needing to go to his dad's because
so many red flags,
marital problems, to it seeming like an SA situation between Faith and Sebastian. It just went.
Oh yeah. He's being accused of something like that. But here's the thing: I think that there's allegations against Chris, and I'm thinking he was trying to put it off on that boy. Period.
Ooh.
And like I said, I talked to Spirit, and I can call it, like, you can look on post, like I don't get for what I do. I'm all the way Jesus follower, and like I don't think that any of my gifts belong to me. But what I'm telling you right now, I tried to tell Brandy, it was a neighbor. I described Stacy to a T, even the white SUV Cadillac. I said it's light blue or white on everything. I tried to say that. I mean, I didn't go to the police or say nothing like that, but every time Spirit's always right. And like I have a friend, I don't know if you've for Juniper, where they do the stuff in the stars.
No, I haven't really got into astrology. Written. I know I've met a lot of people, like Reverend Donna. I did something with her, like her maps.
Donna, I don't know if she's into astrology.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everything's written. You know what I'm saying? It blows my mind every day. How amazing that Jesus is. And I mean, I know that. No doubt in my mind, I feel like those lights are important. But I think that's when it's because when he passed. How all these. I'm gonna. I don't need to. Sorry, music. And I'm very, from my heart, I seriously believe that's when his little spirit left with Jesus. And it's horrible because, like, the worst thing is he loved his mom so much. Ain't no mother more holier than your own. And she did that for a guy that's cheating on her and is that? Yeah. Oh my God. Come on.
Something definitely happened. I just don't.
And if she's smart, she'll put it all up on him because they got him.
Well, that's what they're trying to. I mean, even in the school, she was blaming Seth for everything. She was, I think they're going to try to keep throwing shade on Seth to do damage control.
Oh, that's what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah. I
like Seth. I think the only thing that Spirit said that he's guilty of is for over-sexualizing, like, women to Sebastian. Like, I know that's crazy. I'm talking out my ass, but I'm telling you what I feel in my heart.
I
something did happen. It wasn't Sebastian's fault. I really wholeheartedly think that that Chris was doing ignorant shit to him because maybe he did catch him in something that wasn't exactly appropriate with his daughter. So then Chris was doing it back to him.
I think Chris's issue is the fact that Sebastian's not a man's man. That's the only issue.
Right,
I think that's just it's so appalling.
Well, they were probably both over sexualizing women to him, considering what happened to him, in California.
Yeah.
We know how guys are, and if it's just horrible. He wasn't even really old enough to know where he was going with his life. And like they were saying, that's not even how he thought.
Right.
That he wasn't even thinking of sexual stuff in his head. Then that's even a bigger red flag.
Well, it sounded, according to his stepdad, he wasn't. He didn't have those interests. And that was stated just recently. He didn't have those interests for men or boys or girls. So I think that kind of eliminates that as an option.
The cops know what CPS knows.
Yeah.
And Jesus knows all that. So
yeah,
I have a complete faith that I think it's been solved soon.
I appreciate it.
Unfortunately, he's not. I don't feel like he's alive though.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate
wish I could feel like that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Betty. I appreciate your time.
Bye-bye. Call back again.
Bless everybody.
Bye-bye.
I will.
All right, another caller. So let me see where our time is. It looks like we have at least a call enough for one more call. If anybody, there we go. We got our call in. This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Rhonda, and I'm a fellow Floridian hanging out here with you.
Aw, thank you, Rhonda. So
You're
what's
welcome.
up?
Well, this is my first time calling, and I first off want to thank you for the willingness you have had to go even to jail over getting this exposed. And not a lot of people would do that, and I appreciate you for that.
Yeah. And we still went out there with the gathering of voices. It was a much smaller group, but we still did what we had to do.
Absolutely, and a lot of people wouldn't put their freedom on the line, even if it's just for a small amount of time, and you are more than willing to lay that down for Sebastian, so I have so much respect for that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I guess one of the things I want to say is, and this is my opinion only, it's not reflecting on anybody in chat or on Betty. I take responsibility for my opinions. I have felt from the very, very beginning that we've been dealing with a good old boy club tied in with the step parents CP's parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I have thought that there has been a lot of alleged chaos. And I do think, in my opinion only, that our cuddle struggle friend, I think, was trying to hinder a lot of things, in my opinion. And I think now that the FBI and DOG came in, there's no way that they can continue to try to hide this.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, hopefully, are in self-preservation mode in that corrupt system, if it is corrupt. It needs to be exposed, because for anybody to hide the disappearance of a child to the extremes that anybody in that county has done is ridiculously sick.
Mm-hmm.
I pray and thank God for Jesus, because I know that all of these people will have final judgment, even though we want them as people to see the justice, and we should. And Sebastian needs and deserves that justice.
Mm-hmm.
And this has to go forward. And the only person that begged and begged and begged for DOG and other people to get involved was Seth. Seth might have regrets for some of the things he has done as parent. But as a parent, I have regrets for things I have done.
We all do.
We all make mistakes. And Seth owns his mistakes and wants to be the best parent he can. And that's all you can ask for from that man. He loves his son unconditionally, whereas I believe in the other home, he was damaged goods because he wasn't, quote, normal.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. He was a very special young man. He was so well behaved. And here's where I'm going to get a little dicey. In my opinion, and I have thought this from the very, very beginning, for CP to be so triggered over the child protective reports, I fear, and I'm sick to my stomach because I truly believe CP might have been essaying Sebastian, and that's why he had to make sure he was no longer around. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, some people have brought that up early on, especially when we found out he was using the bathroom. And, you know, a lot of people have that telltale sign. We know that that's a signal of abuse, especially in autistic children.
And the bedwetting and the nervousness. Mm-hmm. And when I saw him in that video, it just broke me because, number one, I saw Sebastian, but I also saw a very, very nervous, scared child that was on edge. And that really was upsetting. She doesn't interact with her child in that video. I'm not saying she doesn't at home, but I don't think she did. Mm-hmm. And when they said that Sebastian would spend all of his time in his room, I believe that because I don't think he wanted to be around either one of them. I think he was petrified. Mm-hmm. Even though he did love his mother, I 100% believe he was petrified. And I think they controlled him, like they put their hands inside that child's body to make him do what they wanted him to do, like a puppet. You're going to do it this way or else. But I 100% think we're going to find some essay stuff in those reports. And I do believe he was abused on every other level, verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally. Yeah. And, you know, what's very telling to me is in the beginning when both of his parents in that home were doing the interviews and the way they spoke about him and the glee they had in their voice and the things that were coming out of their mouths being all negative, I think that was so common. They didn't even realize what they were doing was wrong until people started saying, what the hell is going on? Yeah. They didn't even understand what they were doing was wrong. They just thought, let's tear him down. That was how I think how they lived in that home with him.
Yeah. Well, it just shows you how they truly, I mean, if that's the best that they have for their son, it just shows you how they truly felt about their son because they put the positive spin on it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is the child that I saw looks like a child that would have been a great child if he had been allowed to just blossom into himself.
Yeah, it absolutely. And not only that, but his father enjoyed teaching him things. He enjoyed teaching him how to cook. He was trying to get him where he was sufficient and able to take care of himself. Those were things his mom wasn't doing with him.
Listen, I have two special needs. One had a head injury and one had a learning disability. Well, they had both with that. And medications can really mess with children. I have a son that could not stop eating on medication. Some of those meds make you starve. And to think that they would withhold food is just disgusting to me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they did nothing to help socialize him or get him friends. I had to physically force my children out of my house to summer camp. I had to physically, to proper camps. I had to get them involved in sports, flag football, the boys and girls. You do things to help your child. You make the play dates. And they didn't want to do any of that.
Right.
And I don't blame Seth for that because Seth was an only occasional parent. And Seth was probably very stingy with his time, wanted it all to himself with his son. And I get that 100%. Mm-hmm. But I really do think that he's so evil. And people think Katie is this little gentle thing. Katie's a chameleon. Katie transforms to what she wants to be. And honestly, if this got real serious and we were to go to some sort of really tragic type situation like unaliving and unaliving self, I think it would be her doing both acts, not him. Yeah. She's a cold-blooded reptile.
Yeah.
All right, Betty, I appreciate you letting me back.
I appreciate it. Call back again. We appreciate the callers. People loved your commentary, so thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, guys, I'm done with the calling for right now. We'll open up the calls again tomorrow morning to have a little further dive into this information and what we've learned. I appreciate you guys all being here. I hope you learned a little bit about the do's and don'ts of private investigators in Tennessee. It definitely is a lot. You know, there's a lot that are allowed and a lot that's not allowed. And we've identified definitely, without a doubt, 4 of 5 critical violations that I feel were done by this unscrupulous PI. I just want to go through and thank everybody for being here. I want to thank It's Me Jen for the super sticker, Letha, Melanie, Astrology for the Mystics, as so many people have no idea who SF really is. Thank you for always taking one for the team of Sebastian. Thank you so much. Our beautiful Gypsy is up in the house. Thank you for doing this. I was getting tired of telling him on X. Bless you. You have gotten the word so much further than I can. God bless you. And I almost skipped over. Callie girl, thank you so much. 5 Bullhorn Betty gifted memberships. If you were the recipient of one of these beautiful memberships to this crazy, insane asylum we call the Coffee Club, please don't forget to tell Callie girl, thank you so much. And Aletha says Jackie really needs to talk. I saw some commentary of Jackie trying to call in. I only have room for so many calls, so it's first come, first serve, unfortunately. So I will open it up, Jackie, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. If you'd like to come back and hopefully you can get into the phone lines, I'd greatly appreciate it. You can always email me information to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And I'm happy if you give me permission to share it. I'm happy to read it for everybody as well. But call back in tomorrow morning. Thank you all for being here. God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be kind, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless you, and we will see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.